With so many marketing messages bombarding everyone, what do you do to rise above the noise? Authentic and thoughtful marketing could be the final frontier for marketing in business. Sit back and enjoy as we interview the principals of real businesses as they talk about their distinctive and authentic approach to reaching out to new prospects. When you rise above the noise, your marketing doesn't seem like marketing at all. I'm Jason Tanner. Welcome to the Zero Noise Marketing Podcast. So I've got Brad Way here, and I'm really interested in talking to Brad because it's always interesting when you see someone who starts doing something that so far you haven't had the guts to do yourself. And somewhere inside of you understand that this is something that I'm probably going to have to do someday. And then there's Brad doing it, right? We're talking about video blogging or vlogging. And I'm interested in understanding how you got from just kind of seeing someone else doing it and then getting up the courage to dig in and start producing them yourself. So when did you start thinking about this?
I guess it would have been January maybe of last year, maybe give or take a month or two, and started watching a few people that were pretty active in that space. And I'm very interested in networking, and I wanted to grow my personal brand. Most of my blogging has been done mostly on my personal side of things. And I just thought, well, what a great way to leverage social media on a daily basis. That's the consistency I was at for some time. By actually doing a vlog and trying to connect with people, just like I love to do when I'm out in the physical networking space that so many of us do in business.
Like Brad and I belong to the Kingston Sales and Marketing Club, and it's always a lot of fun to get in front of a few people and to meet new people. And of course, having a video on social media means you don't have to wait your turn.
Sure.
You just stick there. Otherwise, it's every 6 months or so.
Sure. Yeah, the consistency is much higher, and we're all on social media for the most part daily. So it's just a way to connect with people on a more frequent basis.
So Brad's not superhuman. So there was a little gap there between his original light bulb moment where he realized he needed to do that. So how long did it take you to get there?
You know, I guess what went into it was a whole host of things and the reasons why I ended up pulling the trigger. But I mean, it's been said before, once I made the decision, it was done. It just took me a while to get to that point. You know, that was probably, a couple of weeks, really. I mean, it was, hey, I should do this, but that's not a decision.
I take that
like
back.
I shoulda, I coulda.
I take that back. Brad is superhuman. It only took him 2 weeks to go from concept to reality.
Yeah, because the biggest thing that I did was I wanted to limit the barriers. And so I did a lot of personal growth last year. I'm still obviously in that. That's really important to me. It's obviously a continuum. It's continuous. But one of my limiting factors was always trying to make it perfect. And
what do you mean by that?
Well, needing a tripod, or needing an actual camera, or having a lapel mic, or having us right stuff. I just said, bullshit. Let's just start and I'll figure it out. So that's not the way I've always been. So that was probably the biggest thing is I subscribe to a fellow that isn't, what's the right word? Diplomatic in his approach. And he just said, just start. And his name's Gary Vaynerchuk.
Gary V.
Yeah, you either like him or hate him. And most times everybody starts off in the realm of hating him because he's pretty direct. He's telling us all the things that we maybe don't want to hear. But if you're in the right frame of mind, you're like, oh, he's right. So he was instrumental just because of what he was doing. He's very motivational. But that concept of just start. Just begin and just don't worry about what the output is until you've started. And then you can start taking steps and getting better.
That's it, yeah. And I think it's true of all of the video blogs that I follow, they all at some point will say, go back to my first video.
Oh.
And they're nasty, right?
They're nasty. Not only because of obviously the equipment,
right.
but and quite frankly, obviously our phones are capable of doing so much. They're way better than you know. They grew up in the '80s, and you think about the stuff that came out in the late '80s and '90s. You'd be, you know, just wasn't possible. But our ridiculous, right?
You could stun a giraffe with this. So good, right?
No, right. So the capability of our phones is fantastic. And just getting going.
Right. Yeah. So a low barrier of entry when it comes to the technology.
That's right. Yeah. There's low to none because the majority of us have phones. And to your point of you take a look at my first videos, you know, it wasn't just obviously that barrier of the technology. It was your comfort in front of the camera. Right. That, you know, and that holds people back. That fear.
Yeah.
That fear a lot of times of sharing what you're thinking because you don't want to necessarily maybe be judged negatively. And
that is super interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what I found out is most people don't give a shit. And so you find out that even if they don't necessarily agree with you, that they don't not like you anymore.
Right.
They watch the next one.
Well, there's kind of a suspicion when you meet someone else that they're probably not a clone of you.
Yeah.
You kind of hope that they're enough like you that there will be some basis for a relationship.
Sure.
You know, carbon-based life form may or may not have reproduced in the past. You know.
Well, you know, and the other thing for me is I want to attract people that are attracted to me, and so.
How do you mean?
And what I mean by that is I'm not afraid that Jason Tanner doesn't like me because I put something out there that he doesn't like. And if the relationship isn't meant to be, it's not meant to be. It's not, especially from a business perspective.
Yeah.
That turns into a red light, you know. And I that was shared with me a couple of years ago, kind of the green light, yellow light, red light kind of idea of you know, you can identify people that are your green lights. They give you energy, etc. And you want to attract those like people into your world.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think in studying sales myself, that people that who are interested in having a relationship with anybody with a strong pulse, who provides them with eye contact,
sure,
those people are terrifying.
Yeah, it is, and it's not fun.
No,
it's just not fun, and I'm not interested, especially in my personal life or in my business life, in attracting people that it's hard work.
Right.
It really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You know. So
it doesn't take you long in business to realize that every potential client who comes along is not going to be an ideal fit.
Yeah, and in reverse too. It's not just it's symbiotic. I mean, and you're not the right fit for them, and that's good.
Yeah.
It means that there's space and room out there for multiple me's or people in the space that I play in.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really liberating too, because it takes the pressure off. You don't have to be, I forget, there's a comedian who said, I gotta be me because otherwise I'd have to get all new clothes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's great. So let's get down to the meat and potatoes here. So how did you pick a topic for your videos? First of all, you sell, like literally make your money with, well, remind me.
Okay. You know, historically we've been employee benefit consultants.
Okay.
And we play that in that space predominantly still. But we've recently went through a rebranding and vision and mission statements. We're really leaning into the corporate wellness space and really wanting to help entrepreneurs, business owners leverage their greatest asset and take care of their greatest asset, which is their employees.
Okay.
So that's where FlexBen is. And the reason why I actually started my vlog, selfishly, there's lots of reasons from the selfish side, but I really love connecting with people. I love connecting with entrepreneurs. They're similar. I mean, we're not complete carbon copies, but there's some similar DNA there.
Right.
And I love seeing people at their best self. So by doing the corporate wellness thing, that was a kind of epiphany for me. I'm like, geez, the insurance market's traditionally a reactive type of benefit, right? You get hurt, you can use your insurance.
Sure.
And
you don't necessarily think about it unless something bad happens.
Yeah. And so that's great. We need that.
Yeah.
But to fill Brad Waste Cup, I want to start doing something a little bit more proactive.
Okay.
And helping companies take care of themselves and their employees by introducing corporate wellness strategies.
So kind of a holistic approach to just being...
Yeah, employee benefits really should be a 7-lane highway rather than just a single-lane highway with health and dental, traditional, right? LTD and those types of benefits. It really should be like driving down, the 401 in Toronto opposed to out here in Napanee. It should be a wider conversation, more comprehensive in approach.
So taking in what other aspects then? So
taking in obviously the well-being, so financial well-being of people. We just recently had a fantastic roundtable discussion about wellness with a handful of business leaders in this area, and the word community came up a lot. So creating a sense of community at work. I recently watched one of your other podcasts.
Okay.
And that individual just expressed the feeling that they have at work, and that people love to come into work.
Right.
And I think that's part of any business's job, is to create that space.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can do that by doing a whole host of things, and it needs to come from the leadership, but with the connection to the ground up too, and involving that in your people and what they want to see.
Okay.
So some of the ideas that have been shared, recess at work. Take a break and go do something at work together. That's fun.
What a lovely concept, because there was nothing that made my heart race more than
even the word.
Yeah,
just the word.
Recess.
Recess.
Break.
We're gonna take recess now.
Break sounds like something I'm gonna have to wear a cast later because I had a break.
Yeah.
Whereas recess, that's nice. I like that.
It is nice, and it's not applicable to every business environment. You can't do certain things, obviously, and that's why people like me will be employed in service. Because you need to have these types of conversations, and you can't just apply a cookie cutter approach to everybody.
Right.
But this isn't complicated. We just want to help people coach, to that next step. And so let's go back to your original question of why I started my vlog,
right?
Which was, wellness is a broad topic. And I've done a particularly good job in several areas of my own personal wellness and well-being. But one of the areas that I haven't done very well is around this area.
Ah, yes.
Very easy when I was younger. Yeah. Well, not all of us, but many of us. Yeah.
Yes.
So I started my vlog called Daily Steps.
Okay.
And I was just sharing my journey and my thoughts. And that's where it came from. And that's what I love to do, because I found out that walking is a fantastic, I'm not very stressed, but it's a fantastic stress relief, even if you don't think you're stressed. It was a great way to start my morning, because it cleared my mind and I could think about business, or I could think about what's on the day's list of things to do. And it also filled me with a sense of purpose, because I started to get some feedback from people, both directly on social media, through like a public response, or privately.
Okay.
And I like that kind of thing. I mean, I like making a difference in people. So, so that's where it came from.
Yeah, that's great. And so, at a high level, if I'm reading you correctly, what you did was you tried to think about what was a priority for the right kind of customer out there. So if there's a corporate customer who's trying to create an environment of wellness and employee retention, which of course speaks to the continuity of service. If you have people leaving every 6 months because they're miserable, it really, really affects your ability.
It has a huge cost to the corporation, right?
Right. And never mind that your customers start to feel a little bit jangled, because they're dealing with someone different every time they call.
Absolutely. Yeah, the cost is is sometimes you need to do some thinking about it, obviously, when you have turnover. But I mean, that's one of the biggest costs associated with a business is turnover or being sick.
Right.
So having a proper wellness program can help, do that. But getting back to the kind of the marketing and why it was chosen, because I know that's primarily what we want to talk about, not FlexBand and what they're doing specifically, but why did I choose to start talking about do daily steps and kind of bridge the gap to then for people to get to know me, and that was, I guess that's really the reason. It was the networking side of things.
Yes.
I thought, first of all, Brad, no one can do you better than you.
Right.
Right. And I think that's all of our greatest assets, as long as we play to them.
Sure.
So my strategy really was just to be myself, and I did some thinking about who am I.
Okay.
Like,
right, that's a little scary.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
Sure. Now, yeah, it's hard because I think we all think we know.
Right. Yeah.
Until you start really peeling back some layers of who you are, and that's still a process.
Right.
I'm just deeper than where I was.
And when you move into something that makes you uncomfortable, it's a fascinating exercise in self-confrontation, isn't it? Sure. Where you go, I thought I could do this. I always thought of myself as a sports car. It turns out I'm a Jeep.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. And that's exhilarating and liberating. Right. Once you really embrace it. And so, yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. So, on top of broadening your effectiveness as a communicator when you're filling a real need to an audience that just happens to also need the other things that you sell, you're also confronting yourself, and it's a tremendous personal growth opportunity.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. And we're still in this journey. I started this vlog. I've unfortunately stopped the vlog because in the winter it was very difficult for me to do the trigger, which was me actually walking. Trigger. So yes, very important. Very important. And
I was reading about this morning, but I'm going to let you explain it.
Well,
why do we need
I think we could probably talk about it rather than me explain it.
Oh, sure.
But I mean, for me,
yeah.
I realized how important triggers were, or routines.
In habits.
And routines, sure. Yeah. And I mean, we all focus on our kids, right? We got to get them in bed by 7:30, or it's witching hour at 8 or 8:30, right? That's no different than what we are. Right. And we're such a different species. We're not, for me, the getting up in the morning and going for a walk was the time that I had, first of all, and also the trigger to share. It was when I was clearest and most actually excited to do it. So finding that is kind of important. I think hacking life is a term that you hear to fill things in. Right. If you can find out life hacks, that's one of my life hacks, is that if I can get out and go for a walk, I can do my vlog.
Right. I was watching a video series this morning about designing habits, and the guy was talking about, first of all, recognizing strong keystone habits, and then picking one, and then picking an ideal trigger. And this is all very interesting because there's an implicit purposefulness about the approach. You say, I want it to be automatic and easy to do the right thing. You start from there, whatever it happens to be, and then tie it to something that is already automatic and easy. Yeah. Whatever it happens to be. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So fascinating. I suppose we all have things like that in our lives that we kind of trailer to a new habit that we aspire to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it went off the rails for you a little bit when your trigger disappeared.
When my trigger disappeared.
Okay.
And what I need to do is find some new triggers, right? Because I think winter's coming again next year.
They were saying that.
Yeah, especially here. So, I mean, my option is to move to Florida. which I'd love to do.
Sure. That's a good plan.
But it's probably not realistic. It's probably not probable. It is possible, so we'll just put that on the vision board.
Yeah.
But I need to find some triggers for the wintertime. You know, and you know, I'm not beating myself up about it. You know, I think realizing it has given me the ability to learn that I can apply this experience to other areas of my life where I lose the trigger to do the right thing and what I really want to do.
I've always been tempted to find someone like me, which is like a big problem.
Every morning when you look in the mirror,
yeah, other than me,
yeah,
and then have kind of a habit or aspiration pact,
right,
where you check in with each other every so often, sort of a cycle of what do they call that?
It's kind of like, I want to say mastermind, but I mean, you just mean like
accountability.
Accountability person.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, a lot of us talk about that in terms of goals, like sales and things like that in business.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a little scary for people, but I think more fun is actually to probably do the personality, not traits, but what's the right word? The habit forming, disciplinary things that just make you feel good.
You're much further ahead, I've learned, trying to come up with a way of doing it on your own, with an anchor or like a trigger, you say, but something that's durable and persistent,
right.
Than trying to find someone like you, because I tried this on like 5 or 6 people who are good friends, close friends, people that really know me. It scares the devil out of them. They go, I don't know.
Well, I think, I mean, anytime you put like that word accountability up there, that's a little offsetting, right? But you know what I find really great, first, Jason, is that having these types of conversations, they're energizing.
They are.
And if you can find a handful of people that you can have these types of conversation where there's no judging, there's just conversation of sharing stories, it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really enjoy it myself. Yeah. So you have this, there's 2 things that you're doing with your videos, right? One is you are explicitly teaching people about something that's valuable to them.
I mean, my videos in the daily steps really was just a personal vlog of what I'm doing personally. And I would drip in terms of, I mean, my business is also a part of me. But just like in any networking setting, you're not going to just talk about your business. That's kind of boring. People kind of want to get to know you.
Yeah.
And so by actually doing the vlog, I was kind of walking the walk, saying, listen, we all have to take steps to get better. My area is probably different than yours, but you might identify with my area. Maybe you don't. But not to be overwhelmed by the end goal, but just to take, one bite at a time. You can't eat an elephant in a day, right? That saying comes back to me all the time.
Yeah.
It's just one bite at a time, and I'm very much, it's just one step at a time. Yeah. So that's what the vlog is about, sorry.
Right, no, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so what advice would you give someone who is completely on the fence about starting one of these things?
Get over yourself, and just do it. The great thing is with this technology is that you can record it and never push it out to anybody.
Right.
But the first step really is just record it.
Okay.
You don't have to ship it.
Right.
How many things do you think have been created that you've never seen before by Microsoft or any company?
Imagine.
Holy, this sucked.
Yeah.
Nice try.
Yeah.
And then you ship the one that you feel a little bit more comfortable with.
Right.
Yeah, so I would say just get started, take a step, and do as good as you can. Like, I mean, that's kind of my slogan is do you.
Right.
I think far too often we're not, and that's when it becomes most difficult.
I've been thinking too that the goal should not be to become overly attached to the outcome at the beginning.
Sure.
The exercise should be to condition your own mind towards a different way of thinking. And sometimes you have to do some mental off-roading because we stick to our own neighborhoods and streets mentally.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and if we're going to crash through the bushes with our mental ATV or whatever we're driving, it's painful, right? We're going to dent up the car, and it's going to be a mess. But that's the exercise. We're building new roads.
Once you come out the other side of that hedge, you learn to find out, like, that was fun.
Right.
Like,
or it was shorter than I thought.
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah, you're going to get a few bruises along the way, but you did in everything you've done in life. You're not here because of it's been smooth all the time. So kind of look forward to the next failure. It sounds awful in some ways, but once you get to the point where you've had a few successes as a result of going through some failures, you go, that's just part of the process.
Right.
And it's all cliche to say all that kind of stuff, but it's true. It just is.
And the other thing, if this helps as a motivator to people who are watching, is that if you become the kind of person who figures out how to push past your own resistance, it looks like witchcraft to anyone who hasn't been able to do it yet. And
100%.
it will annoy them, first of all,
Yeah.
because they're watching you take flight and do something that they haven't been able to do themselves. And it's just a great way that's deceptively simple to gain the respect of other people in your space.
Yeah, it's silly how easy things really are, but how hard we make them to be. You know, like, not saying that everything that is supposed is easy, but it's not hard either.
The physicality of a task is simpler
it's mostly,
than the mental game.
It's mostly out there, and you learn a lot about yourself by pushing yourself through those things.
Oh man, yeah.
Like my growth as a result of trying to grow has been greater as a part of the process.
Right. You know what I've been doing lately, which is interesting, because of the simplicity of it and how powerful it is. All of the jobs on my list that I do every day that I have to do and that are important and that I hate, I take out a stopwatch and I time how long they actually take.
Oh, sure.
And I find they actually represent a much smaller...
the ratio in your head is much bigger, right? Like, no, for sure. Just get them done.
Have you ever heard of the homunculus?
No.
No. It's a visual arts term, and what it is it's a face, and there's the parts of the face that the body or the mind think are most important have been exaggerated. So like the lips are really, really big, and the eyes are huge, and the nose is small, and it's all this. If you look it up online, it also means a person who's small and perfectly proportioned, but it can also mean this other thing. But I think the egregiousness of a task has, when we're kind of thinking about it, has kind of a homunculus effect too. You think, because this is awful, it must also be time consuming.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not.
No.
And it goes for this stuff too. It feels like it's going to be, maybe the first or second one's going to take you 16 hours to put it all together and learn the software, but the next one's going to take you 2 hours.
Yeah, and it just gets easier, and it spawns into multiple other things that you may want to do within your business.
Right.
You know, this is a personal / business exercise that I've been doing this vlog. But as a result, I started to do more videos, not vlogs per se, but videos for FlexBend directly.
Okay.
And that just becomes comfortable because you start to realize, you just get comfortable with the process.
Right.
Hearing your own voice for the first time is crazy, and even as you get older.
And you have a nice voice,
right? But you know what's weird now? When I listen to I know my own voice of what you hear now.
Okay.
It's not so shocking anymore. Like, oh, that's me. Oh, geez, dude, that's me. Like, that's the first experience that you typically have when you're a kid, or if you're an adult and you really haven't listened to your own voice play back on something. But now it's like, that's me.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like a kind of feeling. I'm kind of like, what did I have to say?
And that's something that I hadn't thought of. But Zig Ziglar, you know Zig Ziglar?
I know Zig, yeah.
Okay.
Well, not like Zig,
not
how are you?
right.
Not him,
Well,
but you know.
That would be amazing. But but he, in his books, he recommends that because in sales you're always trying to improve the quality of how you come across, that you should practice recording yourself, and that was probably written back in the heyday of VHS and Beta. So they weren't talking about that necessarily, but having an honest perception of how you sound. So another benefit to those of us who are And all of us are in sales in some way. We should have an honest picture of what we really look like and how we
that's certainly, I know, as a training technique. I think a lot of times people talk about. I had never really thought about it like that, but I'm sure there's that benefit to doing it.
Absolutely. Fantastic. I really appreciate you spending the time with me. Where can people get a hold of you?
Geez, whole host of. I love social media. Okay. I love to connect on social media. So you can reach out to me, Brad Way, on Facebook, and I think it's either Brad or Bradley on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Snapchat's real fun. So if you want to make my day, send me a snap. And from a corporate world, Brad at fluxben.ca. You can reach out to me that way. And then our social media for FlexBen as well, if you're interested in the wellness space, both as a person that's in wellness or you own a business that's interested in having that conversation, you can reach out to us on our social media or directly through my email.
Great. Okay, fantastic. This has been really, really enlightening.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
This has been the Zero Noise Marketing Show. Connecting with the right prospects in an authentic way doesn't have to be complicated. If you think authentic, zero-noise marketing might be right for your business, find out for sure by contacting us for a free consultation session. We can be reached at 613-379-3051. You might be eligible for a complimentary test campaign. I'm Jason Tanner. Thanks for tuning in.